For those of you who were here at the similar ILSI meeting, we had Lex Buter, who gave us a very good overview of scientific integrity, what it is, how it can go wrong and so on, in a very nice anecdotal fashion. But today, what we thought is, Lynn and I, is that we'll go straight into the crux of the matter. ILSI is ILSI, and scientific integrity is one of the pillars of ILSI, extremely important. And yet, at times, we get hammered here and there. And therefore, in Southeast Asia region, which includes Australasia, that's where Lynn and I come in, we have set up a scientific integrity working group, which is headed by Lynn Kobiak, and we have about 9 members in it. And over the past 1 year, we've worked very hard to make sure that we are doing what is right and coming up with the right things. And basically, it's about tripartite collaborations. And colleagues in Malaysia have done a survey. Colleagues in Indonesia will be starting a survey soon to find out what is happening, what is not, what are the trials, the tribulations, and so on and so forth, and how we can move forwards in this area. Recently, I was in Cape Town. Yes, I was virtually in Cape Town, not there actually. And again, there was a lot of discussion on scientific integrity from the burgeoning universities in Africa. In fact, even setting up the IRB was a consideration for them. So I would think that this is an area that is growing. We're at different levels, different parts of the life cycle, but we all want to get there. So thank you for that. And can I do the slides myself, or? Yes. Oh, the remote is here. Sorry. Thank you. Okay. All right, now this is a slide that I like actually, and I think it might resonate with our past speakers just now. I already wrote the paper, so why is it so hard, to get the data? So I think this happens sometimes, and I have actually been part of conversations, and I blame myself. My CV says senior academic, so I blame myself, where we talk about rankings and we talk about being in this thing and that thing and how we need Faculty of Science to get there. And you need to publish 3 Nature papers, 2 in science, 1 in whatever. And this is it, you see. The young scientists are now given, well, not only young, medium, mid-career researchers are given tasks, KPIs to achieve this and to achieve that. And their next grant or promotion could be to get a paper in Nature and Science. So we scour everything that's happening, we come up with a paper and then do the research. Is that right? I don't think so, but sometimes it happens that way. They're being strategic, they say, but is that strategic? I don't know, okay? Now this one is very close to my heart. I have done this in my life. I used to be an intern at a brewery in Birmingham, and each time the results went awry, we drank our results, and I'm sure you will forgive me for that because the beer was excellent. But on the other hand, is this transparency when you don't expose your results, as was mentioned earlier? When we keep our data, we only put forward the good ones, but not the not so good ones. And I can assure you, when some of my colleagues move on to other lives or to better, greener pastures, and you look into their cabinets, you can find lots of documents and data which shows that maybe sometimes they haven't been as reliable as we think they are. But this is a science, and yet we're talking about it, which is a good thing. So let's move on and try and see how we can improve the situation. So basically, let me come back to ILSI, talking about the reputation of ILSI and how we pride ourselves in scientific integrity. Some years ago, not too long ago, there was a very good publication on ILSI's commitment to scientific integrity and all the guiding principles that are important to us. And that's basically, whatever we do, it has to be objectively designed. No one, because we're tripartite, so there cannot be any biased influences. It has to be under control of scientific investigators, even though the financier may be some conglomerate. It has to be scientific investigators who are in charge. No remuneration, freedom to publish, okay, full disclosure, no undisclosed authorship, accessibility to all data, and transparency of affiliation. Okay, so this is what we said we would do, and I think all of us are trying very hard to push this forward, actually. Sorry. Now, recently, as I said, in Malaysia, there was the National Survey of Responsible Conduct of Research. Now, forgive me, but most of these slides are not mine. I have taken it with permission from my colleagues in Malaysia and elsewhere and put it together in Thailand so that we can sort of understand what they're going through and what their concerns are. Now, basically, this research was interesting in this survey was interesting in the sense that almost half the cohort were concerned that irresponsible research practices are becoming more common. Okay, so as you can see from the pie chart on your left, they were quite well. They sort of put forward their concerns, and basically some of the top factors that drive research misconduct and detrimental research practices were poor examples set by mentors, supervisors, seniors, peers, unrealistic institutional expectations of research output, academic competition for promotion, fame, etc., pressure to satisfy KPIs. So this was common, and now we're replicating this in the different countries. I am sort of assured that this will come up again and again. Okay, yeah. Now, again, this is a slide from a colleague from Thailand. Why is food and nutrition research prone to issues? As mentioned just now, standard randomized double-blinded placebo-controlled study, he says it's impossible, question mark there. Numerous confounding factors making statistical treatment challenging. Small effect compared to drug studies, it's quite true. And scientists, apparently, again, this is his opinion, tend to publish positive data or favorable data. I think this is across the board. Even in engineering, it's the same. So it's not only nutritional scientists, but across the board, there could be a tendency in this area because of all the things we mentioned earlier, KPIs, promotion, and other pressure as well here. Okay. Now, Southeast Asia region itself is very different from Brussels, Europe, North America, and so on. The cultural aspects of academia are also very different, though it's changing very, very fast. As you can see, National University of Singapore is number 8 now, so they're doing all the good things that you want them to do. But again, we are very lacking in strong consumer association activists. Okay, society is such, there's this kind of trade unions are very lacking there. So consumers demonstrate higher confidence in government in some of the Southeast Asia countries, as opposed to industry and academia and so on. So if the government says yes, it is definitely yes. You know what I mean? So that kind of thing. Whistleblowing, willingness, or lack of willingness is a problem. People are slightly scared to whistleblow. So this is a problem. So things just get swept under the carpet and it continues. So this culture is eminent. I must say it's not only in Southeast Asia region. Some of us have worked in many countries. I've seen it in the UK, I've seen it in Australia. So it's across the board, but in Southeast Asia, because of the lack of consumer associations, that backbone that sort of protects you, this is slightly serious. Seniority could influence whistleblowing willingness. The senior members could actually be the impediment. Experienced researchers were more inclined to inaction for various reasons, which is possibly their own terrain, and hierarchical power could inhibit staff from having openness and transparency to integrity issues. So basically, it's just the culture, the organizational structure, expectations, and so on and so forth. And of course, but despite of all that, there's great pressure to achieve KPIs because everybody wants to be there. So KPIs are very, very important. So we have this scientific integrity working group, as I mentioned, in Southeast Asia region. It's led by Lynn Kobiak, who's from CSIRO, the Commonwealth Scientific Industry Research Organization. It's actually tripartite, been there for quite a long time, and Lynn will speak to us about CSIRO. Myself, Lei Ching from University of Malaya, Jeff, Boon Yi, and Hui Ki. So what we're trying to do is focus on fundamental principles of educating researchers, whistleblowers, and also policymakers on SI. And of course, developing a series of actions to ensure progress and awareness in the adoption of scientific integrity in the Southeast Asia region. So in fact, next month, we are having a series of workshops with industry and academia, government, NGOs to talk about this and see whether we can break that little barrier we have on scientific integrity and honestly come up with some new guidelines to improve this area. So our focus is on fundamental principles and educating the researchers, whistleblowers, policymakers, and so on and so forth. We had a seminar last year on scientific integrity, very well attended by lots of people. And then recently I presented a paper virtually at the WCRI in Cape Town. So again, I think this one is, just forget the top part, but one of the things that came out in this paper some time ago, 2012, It says that any relationship that may affect the way you perform your decisions is considered a conflict of interest. So it's across the board. Any relationship, any idea, and can be financial, commercial, legal, or professional in nature. So I think we have to be mindful of this. Sometimes we do forget, but this is important as well. And time will tell, because whatever we do now, as we have heard from Professor Daniels and also Lynn, Connie Weaver, you know, with time, people will come and catch us actually, yeah. So ways forward, study the landscape of ethic concerns in public-private food-based research in Southeast Asia region. And then perhaps we could publish public practical guidance for research integrity in these kinds of collaborations. So it's an ongoing long journey that we are on, but we hope to also use what I've heard today on what you're doing to come up with how we can improve this scene. Okay,